my small beans? What are we going to do today, you ask? We're going to learn how to professional skateboard at your home. Yes, that's right. You're going to learn how to be a professional skateboard by the most professional skateboard at.
This is Krutika, and most people know her as the Mermaid Scales. She started on TikTok, like a lot of creators, doing relatable skits, anime references, and little comedy sketches. But her style was always more polished than everyone else's. Her editing was clean, her transitions were seamless, her expressions were spot on. She could tell an entire story with just a look. And the best part is, she wasn't copying anyone. That's what made her so refreshing. She had her own vibe, her own pacing, and she didn't rely on viral sounds or weird trends. She had range, creativity, and actual acting skills, which, let's be honest, is something most influencers can't fake, no matter how many filters they use. When TikTok got banned in India in 2020, most Indian creators fell off, but not Krutika. She just pivoted, moved to Instagram and YouTube, and kept going viral. Her followers followed her. She adapted, stayed consistent, and that's when things really started to take off. These days, she has over 8 million followers on Instagram and more than 12 million subscribers on YouTube. Krutika is also very consistent, so consistent. From the time she started until now, she still finds a way to post at least once a day. But the thing about being this consistent, this low-key, and this focused on creating content is that people start to forget you're a person. They see the work, but they don't realize there's someone real behind it. And when that person finally lets something personal show, the internet reacts in a way that says more about the audience than it does about the creator. And that's what we're going to talk about in this video. The title is How Krutika Lost Her Audience. Well, first, we're going to look at the normal reason. Then we'll get into the controversy. And no, Krutika hasn't lost 99% of her audience. She still gets a decent amount of views, just not like she used to. And I think the normal reason for that is this. Krutika didn't fall off. She didn't change. She didn't start posting weird content or chase trends that didn't suit her. If anything, she stayed exactly the same. And that's kind of the problem. Not because she's doing anything wrong, but because when you've been watching someone for years, eventually, the magic just wears off a little. And that doesn't mean their content got bad. It just means you grew up. And to be clear, that doesn't mean her content was childish like pack gods.
Please.
Harmless.
Really?
Do anything, bro.
Really, bro? Really, bro? You want to see what I can do, bro? You want me to try you, bro? You want me to try you, bro? No. Ain't nobody cares. You got a drop of dark elixir pouring down your head right now. You like a chipmunk. You better get your Christmas comes. It's time for cheers. Time. Oh, Z, what are you talking about? You like Ronald McDonald from Ohio. No. You know Muscle Man from regular show. No. You ain't Ice Spice. You are sugar.
No, don't get me wrong. This happens to almost every creator, especially the ones who post fast, creative content that really hits when you're younger. You start off obsessed. Every new upload feels fresh, funny, surprising. You show your friends. You scroll through their older videos. You feel like you've discovered something special. But then, over time, it becomes normal. You expect the quality. You recognize the style. You know the punchline before it lands. And that surprise, the thing that made you fall in love with their content, starts to fade. That's not on the creator. That's just how people work. Krutika is a perfect example of this. Some of you have grown so used to seeing her that you think her content is repetitive, even when it's not. I bet most of you don't even watch her anymore. And it's not because you hate her. The magic is just not there anymore. When she first started blowing up during lockdown, her style felt completely unique. But now, 5 years later, some of the same people who used to binge her videos are saying she's boring. Not because she changed, but because they did. It's the same thing that happened to creators like Anwar Jabawi. Remember how big he was on Vine and early YouTube? Every video felt like a short film. The edits, the timing, the absurd characters, it was new and addictive. But eventually, people stopped caring. Not because his videos got worse. If anything, they got better. The production value went up. The effort stayed high. But the audience moved on. They didn't relate to the jokes in the same way. The style that once felt exciting now felt predictable. And slowly, the energy died down. That's exactly what's happening with Krutika too. A portion of her audience has simply grown out of the content. Not because it's childish, but because it stopped feeling new. When you watch someone for long enough, consistency can start to feel like repetition. competition. And that's no one's fault. And that was the normal reason why Krutika has lost some of her audience. Now let's look at the other, more controversial reason. People started realizing Krutika was Indian. And you might think, okay, what's the big deal? She's from Mumbai. She never hid that. But here's the thing. In the early days, her content was so polished that her background wasn't immediately obvious. Not because she was trying to erase it, but because she understood how the internet works. And she was right to be careful. Because when people finally did figure it out, something changed. And not in a good way. When people realized Krutika was Indian, they didn't flood her comments with slurs or start posting loud hate messages. That's not what happened. What happened was quieter, more subtle. People just started leaving. No controversy, no drama, just silence. Views started dropping, follower growth slowed down, and nobody said why, but she knew. Krutika was right to be cautious. She polished her content in a way that made her ethnicity less front and center because she already knew what would happen. The moment people saw she didn't fit the image they had in their heads, they were going to treat her differently, and they did. Her content didn't change. Her effort didn't drop. Her style didn't fall off. The only thing that changed was how people perceived her once they realized she was brown. Racism online isn't always about slurs and direct hate. Sometimes it's just quietly deciding not to support someone anymore because of how they look. People might not say it out loud, but it happens every day, and Krutika felt that in real time. It's sad because what she feared the most is exactly what happened, and instead of people acknowledging that or checking themselves, some of them turned around and blamed her, like she was trying to deceive them, like she was pretending to be something she wasn't. But she never lied. She never hid her identity in some shady way. She just kept the focus on her content, the way every creator should be allowed to do. And for that, she got punished. And I know a lot of you are wondering, where do I get all this information? How do I know these things? Well, a magician never reveals his secrets, but I'll show you some of the Reddit posts about the matter. She tried so hard to hide that she is from India. You can check all the reels and you won't know if she is in India or not. But slowly, fans got to know she is Indian and her following dropped. So she lost her fans because of racism, and somehow people are blaming her for it. Far like what she feared the most happened. And look, I'm not saying everyone who stopped watching her is a racist. That would be an overreach, but the pattern is real. And the way the algorithm, and by extension the audience, reacts to race is still something most people don't want to admit. When you're a creator of color, especially from somewhere like India, your window to go viral is smaller. The moment you make your identity known, some people feel less connected. Not because your content changed, but because they never saw you clearly in the first place. What hurts the most is that Krutika didn't do anything wrong. She didn't start drama. She didn't expose anyone. She didn't switch up her style. She didn't even react when her numbers dipped. She just kept working, kept posting, kept being consistent, because that's who she is. That's what she does. And I think that's why so many people, including me, still respect her so much. Most creators would have cracked under that kind of shift. They would have started chasing trends again, or maybe overcorrected, maybe even lashed out at their audience. But Krutika didn't. She stayed in her lane and doubled down on what she was already great at. She didn't let the silence break her even when she had every right to speak up. That kind of discipline is rare. That kind of grace under pressure is even rarer. It makes you wonder, did Krutika really lose 99% of her audience? Or did 99% of her audience lose Krutika? Because from where I'm standing, she didn't fall off. Her numbers might have dipped, but her quality didn't. Her consistency didn't. Her integrity didn't. If you've ever outgrown a creator you used to love, or found someone new who felt like a breath of fresh air, let me know in the comments. Drop a like if you still respect Krutika's grind, even if you don't watch her as much anymore. And subscribe for more videos like this. See you in the next one. Peace.